Hey guys, so let's just do a little tour of my room, a little in-depth tour, because it's totally different than it was last year. It took me a couple days to set up because it doesn't seem like it would take a lot to set up a classroom, but it definitely is exhausting and it does take a lot of time. So I'm gonna break it down for you and show you all the different pieces that go into my classroom. Everything that is up with a purpose. Everything that I've done, every way that it's set up is with a purpose. So I'll go through that kind of thinking for you. So, starting off next to the door are the rules. Now, a lot of times rules, regardless of where you're at, most of the time rules are don't do this or don't do that. And the way that I did these rules, I stole this idea from somebody else. The words that I put in here are totally mine, but there's kind of a discussion as to whether your rule should be don't do this. And the idea is that if you make them more positive, then they'll be easier to follow and people won't be so resentful. So, for instance, let's say a kid is talking. Well, I could have had a rule that says, don't talk. But here's the thing. These rules that I have kind of include don't talk. Because let's say a kid is talking. Well, that's not being polite if they're out of turn, right? And they're probably not talking about what they're supposed to be talking. And they may or may not be talking about positive things. So this is kind of like a catch-all. It actually works very much in my favor because kids are kids and they like to be smart aleck sometimes. So let's say I had a list of like 20 different things and it was like, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this. And then a kid does something totally different from that you all know that he's not supposed to be doing it. But because I didn't put it on there, he's gonna tell me, well, you didn't put it on there, you didn't have a rule about it. So this kind of allows me to take those steps when necessary, and they can't say, oh, you didn't make a rule about it. Well, I can bring back any negative behavior to these rules. So it works very much in my favor. These are just labels of things that I have to have on my board. They're required. And I upgraded them. So last year I had them laminated and all that stuff. But this year I added magnets because when testing time comes around, it sucks to have to take them off and then tape them back on. So instead, this year I just put magnets. So this is very easy just to take off, rearrange, put back up, all that jazz. At the bottom here, I have posters that I got from a teacher company store. Nothing special here, but it's all extremely relevant to what we go into. And here is something that I did not have last year. My first year we had binders, and last year we didn't have anything. Yeah, we didn't have anything last year. And then this year we have composition books. So I have 5 class periods. So this is how we're going to keep them organized. It looks like they fit about 30, which would be great because I'm going to have probably about 30 kids in every class. So every class period will have their own crate and they'll keep it nice and tidy. And I'll make sure of that. Over here we have these little laminated dry erase cards that I've never had. I just bought them at Target, so we'll see how I use them. Over here is a calendar, obviously, and a little shelf that I keep like future assignments on and big old copy, big stacks of copies that I need, all those kinds of things. So once I get that, it'll go there. In my closet is a bunch of snacks. That's basically a snack closet. Snacks are very important, especially in teaching, because you will get hungry, and lunch is not that long of a time. So I got this new poster at Amazon, and I have a giant flamingo on here, and I put little knickknacks at the top. Oh, and this is a map of Indian tribes around the country, which is pretty cool. Up here I have, again, knickknacks. I didn't have anything up here last year. I didn't display anything, but I thought it'd be pretty cool to have like international sodas and some iterations of Buddha and that singing fish. I got that at Goodwill, but I took out the batteries because no way am I having that go off in my class. Also, I have squad goals up here with the dinosaurs because they're adorable. And then over here is just some more sodas and a Star Wars lunchbox, those kinds of things. Representing the Aggies, as always. Texans to Kids love the Texans. I have some air freshener because I teach teenagers, and I have a to-do list all ready to go. And okay, so here's something. This is very much a teacher thing. There's a strategy that you can use to pick on kids, because otherwise if you ask a question, then every time you have one kid who's like, oh, I know the answer. So instead of having that happen every time, and to encourage more kids to participate and to be paying attention, some people recommend that you put kids' names on popsicle sticks and then you randomly choose them. So I did something like that the last 2 years. I used index cards. So it's the same exact concept. Put their name on the index card, randomly choose the kid, which is great because the kids accept it as their fate. So that's why I made this can. I heard over the summer break that a teacher puts the popsicle sticks in a can, so that way they can just jiggle it and then you hear the sound, and that sound is like, Pavlov's bell kind of thing. They know that sound means that they could be chosen. So I decided to make a label for it, Victims of Fate, which really sounds like a band name. And I'm not a part of a band, but if I was, this sounds like a pretty good name. And, this cup is for the pencils that are broken that a kid borrows but needs it to be sharpened. It's much faster and much easier if they just give it to me, and I'll do that when I have time. I also have some professional books here because #never, #stop, #learning. Right, so never mind, I'm just kidding. But seriously, they're professional learning books so that I can be better at my job. And on this wall, so this year I did something a little bit different. I decided to make 3 of my walls have a theme. So this theme of this wall is student work. So I decided I would call them exhibitions, and this is where the student work will go. A lot of people talk about student work. I tried to do it last year. I didn't really stay up to date with it, but I really do think that it would encourage better work, right? So that they want their stuff to be shown to everybody, so they're going to do better work. So we'll see. I think that's a pretty good theory. Back to the Future. I had this map here because it's unique. It's not what you normally see in a map, so hopefully that'll get them thinking. Because normally, the Western Hemisphere is in the West, and this is flipped. Giant map of Texas, some more exhibition areas, some license plate with the kids love. And this area of the wall is like cultures, so you can see all around the world, because that's a huge part of what we do. Then the 5 themes of geography, and then this area is physical geography, so we're talking about, processes of the earth, physical processes. A bookshelf, and over here is my map wall. So I have all different types of maps. So they're showing that maps can be used for multiple different reasons and multiple different purposes. For instance, time zones, or physical maps, or historical. This is specifically military map, which is pretty cool. And then this one is talking about perspective, because this is from the perspective of Australia. So the world looks flipped. And a regular map, and then a historical map. So again, these are up here with a purpose. And this is my wall of maps. And then the second to last area is my processes area, or my procedures area, for lack of a better term. So this was left here by a teacher before me. And thank goodness, because I love this. I will never leave this. I will use it until it's broken, and even when it's broken, I will still be using it. This is awesome. So at my school, we have a block schedule. We have A day and we have B day, and we meet every other day, obviously. And so each one of these slots, 5 of these slots, is for a specific class. So they know that they turn in stuff here. That's where they go. Like once I train them, they will know when I say turn in your paper, they're not going to ask me, where do I turn it in? They're going to say, oh, I know. Okay, fine. I know where to do that. Over here is something that I need to make sure that I stay up to date with, because I always lag behind with this. So I need to get better at this part. Absent work is always something that really falls in, through the cracks, and it can be hard to do. But this is a pretty easy way to do it as long as you keep up with it. And that is just putting their name on the paper and then putting it in their specific folder for their class. And that way they're responsible for it. You know, if you're absent, you need to go get your work from the absent work folder. And they know that. And a lot of times they forget it. So they'll get like a progress report and be like, with all their stuff on it. And they'll be like, why do I have a 0 on this? And I'll be like, did you get it out of the absent work folder? And then they fixed it. But it's teaching them responsibility. It's not my job to make sure you get your work. It's your job. You're 14. It's your time. You know, your turn. Got to do it. Then I have a quote from Lao Tzu. Then this is where I put I put stuff here, and the kids don't touch this unless I ask them to help me pass back papers. So this is where they turn it in, but once I'm done grading it, then I put it over here. So it helps me stay organized and separate what I've graded from what I have not graded. Finally, I forgot. I have one more thing after this. So I have more clocks, more time zone clocks. Last year I had like 4, I think. This year I have a little bit more. And I've made it more fancy because I've used a computer this time instead of doing it by hand, the words at the bottom. So underneath the clock, I have the location, and I also have a number. This number is how many hours behind Houston it is, or how many hours ahead of Houston it is. So you can see Los Angeles, Houston, London, Tel Aviv, Bangkok, Pyongyang, and Sydney. And then I have this. I found this at Target for a few dollars. It was just a blank chalkboard fake clock. And I had seen this phrase on like a busted clock on the internet somewhere that some other teacher put in their room, and I was like, oh, that's cool, that's clever. So I went ahead and stole that. Okay, last thing. So putting kids in groups and desks in groups can be difficult, and especially since I have 30 desks, and groups of 4 I think are ideal, but 30 and 4, that's not an even number. So I have to have a couple big groups. So I have 2 groups of 5. But last year I made a stupid choice. I decided, just for space, that I would put those bigger groups in the corner, like in the far corner over there. That was a mistake. This way, with them in the middle, I can very much keep an eye on them and keep closer proximity to them. I should be walking around the room all the time, but just in case I'm on one side of the room, I'm always close to those big groups. So yeah, I think that's about it. It's kind of a long tour. I apologize for that. But this is the best I've ever had my room. I'm kind of excited. Obviously my trash has not been taken out. But I think it's going to be good. I hope it's good. If this classroom is any indication of how my year will be, then it will be a very good year. So thank you for watching, and let me know if you have any comments or suggestions. Thanks.